Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia, and welcome to the final round of our subscriber game tournament as King of Yan and Zero face off in a best of 3 series to determine our champion. Here in game 1, we have the siege battle of Hefei, with King of Yan in the green, playing as the siege defender, while Zero in the red play as the siege attacker. And looking at their drafts, we can see some very interesting ideas at play. Starting with King of Yan, we can see that he went with Huang Fusong, Xu Huang, and Wu Tugu as his 3 generals, and he ended up picking mainly infantry units, namely either unbreakable infantry or infantry units that can gain unbreakable through ability. So we have 5 units of Defender of Empire on Huang Fusong. These are unbreakable and will fight to the last man, and this is quite a nice trait to have as a siege defender. Then on Xu Huang, we have 4 Qingzhou units of 2 different variety, 1 polearm, 3 melee infantry for the damage, and these units will gain double attack and unbreakable for 30 seconds if their morale ever drops to the point where they will shatter, thus granting them sort of a semi-unbreakable status for a period of time where they can try to win the combat for you and then bounce back in combat to fight again. And then finally we have a mounted northern archer who is actually ranked up to tier 3. And I really like this choice of having at least one range option, not necessarily for the damage, because range cavalry units with their quarter size will not do that much damage, but their main role will be to harass the enemy with their high mobility and fire arrows to try to inflict morale damage on the enemy, as being under fire, as well as being burned by the fire effect, plus getting hit by cavalry, are all going to apply different morale multipliers, and this one unit will be super flexible in applying all of those on key targets if used properly. Then finally on Wu Tugu, there are no units because I think he simply ran out of funds, as the defense side have less money because they will have towers, they will have gates and walls, as well as some bastion siege weapons to help them out. Then on the right side in the red, we have the siege attacker represented by Zero, using Cao Cao, Pei Yuanshao, and Huang Fusong. So Pei Yuanshao is probably a trick that Zero picked up from King of Yan from round 4, as Pei Yuanshao is the only non-strategist general to have Wisdom of River, so he can be used as a combat capable general that can help you debuff the enemy and help you win fights. And since Zero is super well known throughout the tournament for his ability to micro his generals to dismount and target key enemies, this will be a very helpful general. But Pei Yuanshao does have his shortcomings. He's extremely expensive, and he doesn't have Stifling Deluge, which is a huge bonus for strategists. So he's not going to function exactly like a strategist replacement, and on top of that, without an actual strategist in this composition, there are no siege weapons. And that's very strange in my opinion. Certainly, you do get 1 free ram and 1 free siege tower, but they can't break walls, and it's very difficult to advance a battering ram into the thick of enemy defense to kill the gates. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Zero actually tried to get into the city. Now looking at the composition, I can kind of see his ideas here. So we have 2 spear guards on Cao Cao. These are crucial units, as they can turtle formation and absorb the aggro of all the towers. Then in addition to this, we have 1 unit of Defender of Earth. And as we mentioned before in our round 2 matches, whether you're in rain or in snow, these oil arrows will make quick work of the enemy towers with only 1 volley, and this is going to be a crucial weapon in eliminating those towers. However, both of these units are not very good against the Bastion siege weapons or other enemy range units, which fortunately King of Yan did not bring any, aside from the 1 mounted horse archer. So he did get away there, but aside from that, if King of Yan actually had range units, he can easily target the short range Defender of Earth and wipe them out before they could do too much damage. And looking at the rest of the composition, we don't have any more turtle formations, but we do have shield wall on those Imperial units that can build their range block chance to 95%, which is decently high, and the rest of the army is made up of cheap, efficient unit, such as the Peasant Spearmen on the Yellow Turbans to kind of balance out Pei Yuanshao's high cost, 2 Northern Lancer Cavalry, which is a very cheap and efficient shot cavalry unit, plus 2 crossbow units to target high armor enemy units, But overall, looking at the general choices on both sides, I feel like both players are kind of ignoring the fact that this is in fact a siege battle, as they sort of opted to pick generals that are stronger in combat rather than generals that are more useful for a siege, as pretty much all the general choices are designed to fight each other, whether with the hail of arrows, which I believe will be targeting generals rather than units, as both sides have units that can turtle up or be in shield wall formation that can block the majority of missile damages, which is basically what hail of arrow is, and the only general with smash abilities are on King of Yan's side, with Xu Huang and Wu Tugu with smashes, whereas if you look at Zero's choices of generals, none of the generals are really good at killing troops. They're really just good at killing generals, which has been Zero's calling card. So we'll see if he can make it work when the enemy generals are behind a wall. So let's jump into battle here and see how this one actually plays out. Alrighty, so as we load into game here for the very first time in our final series, we're looking at the city of Hefei for the first time since this is match 1, and we do need to introduce the city setup. So in this level 2 setup, we have a city with a very balanced setup in terms of north-south and east-west if we use the entrance in the main plaza as sort of the north point. On the north and southern end, we have 3 gates with only towers on the 2 sides, but 2 open bastions to place siege weapons. On the west and eastern sides, we have 2 gates, but many more towers to deal with. So it's pretty common for the siege attacker to pick one of the north or southern sides to attack. The interior watchtowers also kind of are placed heavily on the western and eastern flanks, so the north or the southern end is probably the easiest place to gain entry. And it's no surprise to see that Zero has picked to attack from this corner here, which we can call the northwestern corner. And how deployment work in a siege battle is that the attacking side will do everything in plain sight of the defender, who have at least 1 minute to respond after the attacking side has finished their deployment, and during the whole process the defender have full vision of the attacking side's deployment, minus units that are hidden in forests, because if you hide them then you lose vision and you can't see them. And if we actually zoom in here to see how this terrain works, you can see that Zero has picked a hill. Not all the terrain on all sides are balanced. There are some high ground, there's some low ground, and Zero picked a corner where he has the high ground plus some trees in the back to hide his unit. Pretty smart. He also placed his spear units in turtle formation to tank up tower aggro once they march forward, and he has placed his crossbow units behind with the siege tower and the ram currently unmanned. He's keeping his cavalry behind the hill to minimize damage from siege weapons, and that's pretty much his setup. He's hiding a few units back here, many of his elite unit, including the Defender of Earth, which you would have no clue if he recruited one or not, unless he accidentally placed them out in the open in the initial phase of the deployment and then popped them into the forest. So there is a little bit of trickery there. Now in terms of the defending side, which has the right to respawn, we can see that he has opted to put the multi-bolt crossbow here, which is a mainly anti-infantry unit with less range, so putting it right where the enemy have their units is probably the right choice. And then we have the Trebuchet, who's slightly longer range in support. He can tilt a little bit, so he can actually aim a little bit this way and change the projection here and help out as the enemy unit get closer. So that's kind of the idea here. Without any range units, King of Yan can only harass with his northern mounted archer, and they can go out and shoot fire arrows, which would be very useful in taking down siege engines as well. These can burn, but horse cavalry or horse archers, sorry, horse cavalry, same unit. Horse archers don't have that many units, and in the snow, that fire is not going to catch very easily. So I was hoping he would bring some more range options. Maybe he can use the siege weapons on the wall to help him out, take out those siege engines, and we'll see how Zero will use them, because right now they're not placed in the front and they do take a while to travel. So I wonder if he's going to actually use them at all. But even if he doesn't use them, I don't see how he can gain entry here. Climbing the wall is just suicide. Aside from that, all the units are placed at this gate since it's pretty clear that Zero is attempting an assault here. It's also interesting that Huang Fusong is hidden, because there is a chance that that unit is Yan Baihu, as both sides did not bring any strategists with foresight. So there could be a sneaky attempt at scaling the city, and with the city this size, it's a very valid strategy, because imagine you have units on this corner, and all the defense are placed here, and you have Yan Baihu sneak up here, climb the wall. Even if they know you're climbing the wall, which wall? He's still invisible. You get a prompt saying the enemy is scaling your wall. You cannot find him in time. He can sneak in, he's still invisible the whole way. He can pressure you by capturing the point. He can open up a side gate for other units that are hidden to come in. It's just a little bit disappointing that that strategy was not attempted here by the attacker. Perhaps he was worried that the defender might know and play someone like Guo Jia just in case. But even then, that's a small win, because as the defending side, Guo Jia doesn't bring the right units to kind of help you defend, and it forces the enemy to get a strategist, and you still have a general that have poison volley at the worst. So basically you pick up someone very similar to Huang Fusong's combat level, perhaps even a bit better, because I think Yan Baihu has higher evasion, and you don't lose very much for very high potential gain, which we're not seeing here. But let's see what we have, right? We have a pretty standard setup, I think. It's just curious how Zero is actually planning to assault this wall, since he didn't bring any siege weapons of his own, so he's not going to use a trebuchet to break anything. And that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm rather curious to see how this battle plays out as well. So let's get going. So we have a very aggressive sallying out with one general as well. Interesting. That could fall into Zero's trap, as Zero's pretty active in concentrating his generals to deal damage. The rest come after, that's good. So we have the crossbows firing at the spear guards, which unfortunately I don't think will do damage. Because I think if you're in turtle formation, the missile damage is actually blocked. I think crossbow damage is just missile damage. I don't think these mounted, they're trying to do some damage to the enemy cavalry, but there's encourage abilities nearby. They're not really gonna, get those units routed. Some auto fire, wasted shots onto turtle, getting hit by enemy crossbow. There's no attempt at the wall. Very interesting. And King of Yan's obviously just feeling things out. This mountain, or this little hill, is very helpful. Yeah, does nothing. Turtle formation cancels out the crossbow, so that's a wasted shot here. The trebuchet will do damage. See that one shot there? It did damage. Another reason why you should always recruit trebuchets. But anyhow, let's see. He's continued to shoot this. That's just gonna do nothing. He should save his ammo, actually. They should be saved since both of us have fire to try to take out the siege towers if they do attempt to move up with those. These are rather isolated. I don't know why the generals don't make attempt here at the turtle. There's only 2 turtle units. If you wipe them out, he cannot take aggro anymore, and the towers will be devastating. This is a pretty good opportunity, actually. It's pretty isolated. Sure, they can come up and help, but by that time, a simple roar, spear guards are rather weak units. A simple roar of the bees, a flame of the phoenix from Xu Huang, and this unit is done. Rinse and repeat with that unit, and then the turtle's basically done. Alright, the peasant spearmen finally moving out. I think Zero is finally going to make an attempt using the siege towers and the siege battering ram, perhaps using these peasant spearmen to push though? The issue with using an expendable unit to push is that they're probably going to rout. They have very low morale. I don't think they'll make it. But then again, who else can he... I would use a general to push this, actually. I'll dismount a general, have the general start pushing. If their generals come to fight, first have the turtle unit grab aggro, right? That's key. Just have the turtle unit grab aggro, which is not happening right now. These turtle are too far away. The aggro starts here. And then have a general push this. Oh, this is not how you want to use expendable units. Right, the turtle shied away. I don't think Zero realizes that this thing does 0 damage to his turtle units. Alright, here comes the desperate attempt to stop the battering ram, which I think is not needed. This unit will never make it to the tower. They already lost 10 men. It's a very long march. And we got fire arrows coming in from the mounted northern units for harassment. Wasting the crossbows ammo with fire will is very smart here. Unintended, but very good result. Yeah, this unit is going to rout. Under missile fire, the fire will also be -4 as well. Discouraged by ability, that's the fire damage. Damage sustained -5. Once they leave Cao Cao's inspired range, they're gone. Right now, basically Nature's Ally is keeping them alive. And we got a shot from... And you can see this is slowly catching fire, but it's in the snow. Yeah, they're gone. They're gone. The turtle units are not being used. They're too far. They were too late. They entered aggro first. Alright, now they're turtling, wasting the crossbow ammo as well. Very, very good. So, what to do about this ram? Now, I don't think there's any way for them to gain entry. But what is... Why is King of Yan coming out? So they used up all their ammo on the retreating peasant crossbowmen. That's a waste. So once they run out of ammo, they will rout. Okay, why is this sallying out? They should be just sit inside. This is beautiful. There's no way for them to enter. The cavalry's going to be wasted. The general's going to have a difficult time. Yeah. Trebuchets. Boss unit. Just tore through 18 of them right there. Look at that little trail. But unfortunately, they're going to run out of ammo very soon as well. There's some very aggressive Defender of Empires out here. And this is where Zero's generals have an issue. They have no ability that can clear these units. There are 0 AoE abilities here. Hail of Arrow does not work against turtle unit. Does 0 damage just like the crossbow. And this cavalry is pretty smart, trying to drag them out into this line so these towers can kick in and help. The turtle units are being used correctly here to grab aggro, so all these units can move up without any issue. I guess the only value these units can have is if you throw them into the enemy turtle. Ooh, they're getting shot, they got a mic pour out of the way. That they can break up the turtle and get them to get shot at, and then once you take out these 2 turtle, everything else is vulnerable. So I guess there's no attempt to use the siege tower, which is a pretty good way to gain access to the wall. But I guess they didn't bring any AoE general either, so gaining access to the wall is not key. King of Yan's very confident in his comp. I think he's going for, you know, the straight up fight against Zero's generals, which is, well, has been Zero's specialty in the tournament so far. We'll see what happens here. I think in hindsight, I should have given the defenders a timed victory condition as well, because honestly, Zero doesn't have to go in, which just feels wrong as the, you know, siege attacking side, because I have everything on unlimited time, which is my fault. I think in the future, if we ever do a siege battle, we should give a time condition for the attacking side to try to push for attack. In our previous round, we kind of used the scorecard as time to force people to attack. Now there's less of an incentive. Right, the aggro is being grabbed, that's good. Why do we have another sally out? This decision making is... Oh, they're just gonna charge at the turtle units. Fight uphill? Well, the Imperial units are finally coming out of the woods. I think he wanted to wait for the siege engine to pretty much die down in terms of their ammo. The crossbow's doing work. I don't understand this move. Like, as much as Zero doesn't have any incentive to attack, there is no incentive for, you know, King of Yen to actually sally out. Just sit inside. If anything, it's more embarrassing for Zero, who's attacking one, sitting outside doing nothing. And the true trump card, where is that unit? Where is our Defender of Earth? Oh, hiding right here. Hiding right here. Alright, we have our general moment. Massive dismount on both sides. Wisdom River being used. A Roar being used. Surprisingly, Zero's Cao Cao is not dismounted. King of Yen here. Ooh! He didn't get it off. He got disrupted. He got it. Okay, he just got disrupted. Oh, the animation continues. Okay, so Pei Yuanshao took a lot of missile damage. And Cao Cao finally dismounted, working together with Huang Fusong to take down Xu Huang. But Pei Yuanshao is going down. So 1 for 1 here, as both sides have their generals dismounted in the heat of battle. And this is definitely something that I think everyone picked up from Zero throughout the tournament. And we actually have Wu Tugu falling a bit low. He did activate his passive, which kicks in when he's below half health. It's not going to keep him from breaking, but I think currently he's still hanging on. Oh, he's about to rout. Pei Yuanshao is still hanging in here. Well, this is going to be interesting. The Pei Yuanshao looks like he's done. Negative 71, he's not coming back. Wu Tugu, negative 15, is about to just die. 2v1, but Huang Fusong for King of Yen's rather healthy. And Zero's decided to pull out of this fight instead of continuing because the enemy units are overrunning his position. And one thing I mentioned about Zero's focus on generals is he ignores his units when he does that, which is pretty... Ooh! What a hail of arrows. Caught both of them. Routed both of them. He might bounce back because this effect will end. But as you can see, he had a lot of really good units that were not being thrown into the fight when he was focused on his generals. Meanwhile, King of Yen threw his units up and took out the spear guard and peasant spearmen, which is pretty worthless. And this defender can just hold this line because they need to kill every single one of them. And it's also hard for Zero to march up because the tower is still there. Especially now these turtles are gone. Both turtle units are gone. This Defender of Earth is getting swarmed. He has not put any shots into the tower yet. More units are coming out. This is becoming an open field fight. I wonder if Zero is going to return a hail of arrows. Okay. It's not very rewarding. These units are pretty scattered at this point. Now we have two Huang Fusong who do not really have AoE damage. They're not very good at killing units. It's going to be an infantry versus infantry fight here at the end. Huang Fusong should probably... I would target this Defender of Earth. If you solve this, your towers are going to stay up for sure. Oh, another in the face. That's 3 high value hail of arrows that I've seen come out of King of Yen's Huang Fusong. Excellent usage. There's one that shot Pei Yuanshao in the face, one shot Cao Cao in the back, and another one that shot Huang Fusong in the face. I think this is also a lapse of micro, because I think Zero is trying to pull away his Defender of Earth. Now let's just see if King of Yen can pick the right target here. He needs to come here and kill this. There are no answers. Sure, there's cavalry, which is a little scary for a general without AoE, but if he moves up with the spear unit, they should be fine. The harassment is not going to work against Imperial units, nor should they be in the range of crossbow. He just wait and use these as cavalry to charge these when he get a chance. Alright, being formation up. So now we have a 95% range block chance. It's not perfect against towers, but still decent enough. Yeah, they're just getting free damage. They can't outshoot the crossbow units. There's value to protect these now. Unable to finish off the Defender of Earth is a bit of a shame, as we can see King of Yen's reforming his lines outside. I don't understand this outside idea. Like, what do you really prevent here? Oh, the free damage from the crossbow hurt. Pulling them up. I think the aggro is being grabbed by these Imperial units, so it's fine for the crossbow to move up. They can probably get some damage, but I think everyone's in turtle. Yeah, everyone is in turtle. Defender of Earth moving up. Maybe they can pick off a few towers. The good news is I'm pretty sure King of Yan's Hongfu is out of hail of arrow shots. And now we have this slow push by the Imperial units, which is quite formidable. Hard to say who will win this, actually. Oh, traps being thrown on the ground just for a little bit, slowing a little bit of damage. Everything helps. If you have it, why not use it? I wonder why they don't just come hit this. You can attack this thing. If you destroy this and then retreat back, it's pretty. These units will be pretty much forced to climb, and that will offer fatigue. Ooh, here comes the sneak attack. Cavalry can't really advance because of the crossbow, so these towers are gone. One volley, it's over. So there goes the tower advantage because this unit managed to stay alive. Hongfu Song's being shy. I feel like a lot of generals aren't, or a lot of players, not a lot of generals, aren't very decisive with their general once they have complete advantage, right? They're the only one with the general, but they're not trying to poke around and use the general to kill things. Like, what good is Hongfu Song sitting right here? Fort tower. Yeah, he realizes it, but this is not the charge. You want to charge around, use the shift key, draw a line, draw a line. You're gonna get dismounted. Don't do it. Oh, he fixed it. He almost got dismounted there. Okay, he wiggled his way around when he could have just drawn this line here. His own traps are actually slowing him. The enemy cavalry, maybe he can bait them in, but the formation actually blocked them from doing that, so that's good. But there goes his fort tower. It's gone. The trebuchet still has a shot. Shoot it. Shoot it. He turned it off. He didn't want to waste ammo, but he forgot to turn it back on. There's some flanking maneuver against the crossbow. The general should be doing that. Just quickly go take care of that. The unbreakable units will still be here by the time he comes back. The cavalry. Baiting the cavalry into a fight is good, because we can see Zero is basically pinning his hopes on having the cavalry kill the general. But it's going to be hard. As long as Hongfu Song doesn't get clean charged by the cavalry, he should be fine. Imperial units are actually dropping morale. They're not unbreakable, so you can get them. Everyone's being thrown outside. This has become an open field fight here. And the tower will help, because once they do engage, they're no longer in shield wall. The range block chance drop, and the tower will do a bit of damage, as well as friendly fire. That's always a thing as well. Cavalry's breaking. Yeah, if you can get them in a fight with your spear units, you can clean them up. Kill the crossbow. They're more threatening right now. Or the range. Any sort of these range. Kill them quickly. Ooh, we got the last shot in. He used it to kill the cavalry. Very interesting. I think it's a smart choice. That's the only thing can kill your general. The flanking unit is working. All these units have routed. Kill the crossbow. And army lost these guys. Kill the crossbow. Kill the crossbow. No. Don't fight them. The buff is good, but kill the crossbow. They can come back. They can now charge the crossbow. The crossbow's on the run. There's this one infantry chasing them, which is good enough. I think King of Yan has this. Imperial units are strong, but they're going to struggle fighting every single defender. There we go. There we go. That's what I want to see. Well, not shoot these guys, but pretty good. They're going to chase down the crossbow, hopefully. Hongfu Song, it's not a very good crowd clearing general without his health arrows, so I don't know what he can do here. Just pull out, wait for cooldowns, give them melee evasion, I guess. But I think, yeah, there we go. Killing the crossbow quickly, dropping their morale through army loss is probably the best way. And if you want to focus on one of these, focus on the middle one. Good choice, because if you cut enough distance, they lose the plus 10 bonus. Alright, the cavalry's going to clean up the crossbow relatively easily. There's no need to micro, just hit them, because you're not going to outrun them. And once they get on top of you, you will pretty much die. Your only hope is to shoot a volley and try to kill that unit. The Defender of Empire is going to be the MVP here by being unbreakable and thus outlasting the stronger Imperial Sword Guards, I think. Because having to kill every single one of these, including this, as long as this unit's here, Huang Fuzong will never have army loss. It's very key to have at least one unbreakable thing. And since that unit is safe, even if all these die, he won't break and it'd be hard for them to claim victory. You can always retreat back into the city, so many towers awaits you. Don't really see a path of victory for Zero at this point. Although I would still focus on this middle one. For the reasons stated above, you want to get rid of the morale bonus. It's close. It's so close. Once he cracked, I think they're going to be both done. 1 morale, 8 morale. Cavalry come back. General, flank him. 12, 20. He's trying to cycle charge. I plot the effort, but I would just go after him. Alright, once that crossbow unit routes back in the rear, melee contact, attack in the rear, damage sustained, currently losing. Just stay on top of him, route him. Okay, it's over. It's over. Once he cracks, they immediately lose those 10 and they're gone. And that's the battle. So King of Yen holds, despite not really using the wall at all. Pretty much came out here and fought an open field fight and won it. Great use of his general. Hail of Arrow came out on top. Excellent usage. All 3 got key targets and he cashed out with a win here. So congratulations to him, and let's look at some numbers. So obviously without bringing any siege weapon, this battle was going to be a bit odd in terms of siege attacking. Zero really didn't have a way in, and you can tell with his units. Once his attempt using an expendable unit to push a battering ram, expecting no one to come out to fight you, it's always a bad assumption. You end up losing that option, and then what do you do with his army? Even if you take out all the enemy tower, there was really nothing you could do. You had to win the battle with the generals to have a chance to overcome these unbreakable units. And since we got excellent usage of Huang Fuzong here from King of Yen, there was no chance. All 3 generals were eliminated in pretty rapid fashion, and Huang Fuzong was able to continue his attack. And even though he doesn't have an AoE, he was able to help his units overcome these very strong Imperial units that did a lot of damage. So that's pretty much the story of this battle. And this one, archer horseback unit was able to apply a little bit of pressure. And in the end, even with 15 units, they were able to chase away quite a few of the crossbow, racking up most of their kill then. They returned decent amount of damage. Most of these units fought the Imperial units, so being able to kill this many, excellent. Both generals died in the fight and didn't get many kills, and that's okay. And these guys obviously didn't get many kills at all. You can see the Qingzhou units outperformed them. This Qingzhou unit died fairly early because it walked into the crossbow range and wasn't able to dish out its melee attack. And even if it can dish out its melee attack, it's not going to do as much as the melee infantry variant here. So overall, just a pretty excellent open field fight we witnessed. It's not really a siege battle. Hopefully game 2 is going to be a bit different and both players can learn from this game 1 and perhaps adapt to different strategies. Maybe as the defender now, Zero will take a similar comp, and perhaps as the attacker, King of Yen will use a siege weapon in the fight. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow. Until then, bye!